Did you know that the father of the SAT, Carl Brigham, was a devoted eugenicist at the time he created standardized testing for the College Board? Before becoming father of the SAT, Carl Brigham wrote a book entitled A Study of American Intelligence, where he concluded that evidence from objective standardized testing basically proved that those of Nordic heritage were mentally superior to other races, as the test clearly showed. That was his stance. And now this book and movement was so popular that it was used to argue things like who could and who could not reproduce should be carefully monitored by a nation, which led to the eventual practice of forced sterilization programs in America. Fannie Lou Hamer being one of the more famous examples to experience and speak out against that horror. Do some more research on that. Now, the American eugenicist movement found a big fan in none other than Adolf Hitler, who wrote in his own autobiography that we, the Nazis, must emulate what the Americans are doing. Carl Brigham's book and the eugenicist movement also inspired and found a big fan in the College Board, that asked him to create a test for deciding who was smart enough to handle college and get scholarships and so on. And thus the SAT was born from those biases. Now, to Carl Brigham's credit, a few years later, he himself actually discredited his own test, stating it did not measure intelligence, but instead measures one's ability to speak the language the test was written in. So it was heavily biased. He noted it was so heavily biased, therefore it was not a good measure of objective aptitude. Personally, someone with a thick southern accent from a rural community, as you can probably hear, I can verify the way I speak and the way tests are written are two different things. And sure, I can do test prep. I can get better scores on any multiple choice test like anyone. And there are certainly situations where someone doing well on a test can help overcome other built-in biases to a system that are trying to prevent them from getting in. And sure, if you do well on these tests, you should be proud. You should celebrate. And yes, the SAT has tried to overcome many of these past biases to become the new SAT, so it has improved. And I'm sure the people who work at the SAT are great individuals. So yeah, it's possible for anyone, but a larger question is doing well or not doing well on these tests. That really continue to be considered the gold star standard for success. I mean, it's become clear from all the burned out students, teachers, angry parents, and our failing education system that the harm inflicted from these tests far outweighs the benefits. Isn't it time we stop talking about this nearly 100-year-old achievement gap narrative and instead, as Ibram Kendi says, admit it's time to start realizing the problem is not with the test takers, but with the tests themselves. Look, this is not about being self-righteous and all that kind of stuff. It's about being aware. It's true that if you look into the past of most organizations, we'll notice mistakes and injustices. And you know, that's how growth works. When you grow, hopefully you'll look at your past mistakes, just like we do in our own life, and not just be willing to, but want to reconcile those past mistakes. You can move forward with greater consistency with your greater true core values. But in the case of standardized testing, this is awareness that Carl Brigham literally designed the SAT for the College Board, coming out of the main goal of purposely excluding other races and proving one was superior to others. I mean, it just seems like it's clearly time to re-examine our dependency on being so data-driven and blindly putting so much faith in the validity of these tests. And along with just calling out the general absurdity, pretending the wonder of life and a human being can be reduced to A, B, C, D options anyway. So let's back away from pretending these tests are so objective. Back away from these dependency on these tests altogether. And amazingly enough, watch education, watch our children, watch our nation start to soar.
Cool Vibes.